Look, I do not need another lens on my camera, and I do not need a slightly different color case on my phone because all I need is functionality. And that simple thought is where this entire message begins. And it is why today I want to share something that has completely changed the way I live and the way I look at money. And it all starts with what I like to call the buy nothing rebellion, a mindset where I stop wasting money on things that steal my time, my attention, and my freedom. And instead, I choose to spend with intention. My name is Alex, and today I want to walk you through the 5 things I refuse to buy anymore. And I want to talk to you like you are right here with me, sitting across from me, listening as I explain how my life shifted once I decided to stop buying things that did not move me forward. Because as a young man trying to build a life that feels calm, peaceful, and financially secure, this change became one of the most powerful choices I ever made. The first thing I refuse to buy anymore is a new car with a car payment, because after years of watching people tie themselves to massive monthly bills, I finally understood how much money is lost when we convince ourselves that a car defines us. And I remember reading that the average new car now costs more than $50,000. And that number stunned me because $50,000 is what some people never even see in a savings account, yet they drive it away in the form of a depreciating object. And for me, that no longer made sense because I realized that the minute you drive a new car off the lot, you lose value instantly. And that loss is something you never get back. And I did not want to play that game anymore. So today I drive an older car that is fully paid for, simple, reliable, and stress-free because it gets me from one place to another. And that is all I need. And as a minimalist and a frugal man, I realize that freedom is not found in shiny upgrades, but in the quiet stability of knowing I owe nothing on the things I use each day. The second thing I refuse to buy is status. And by status, I mean the clothes, the shoes, the watches, the jewelry, and the other little symbols that society tries to tell us we need to look important, because I used to believe that having the right outfit or the right brand or the right pair of sneakers somehow made me more valuable in the eyes of others. But the truth is that it only made my wallet thinner and my stress heavier. And I started noticing how many people dress like they are wealthy, even when they are barely getting by, and how we created a culture where looking rich became more important than actually having financial stability. And I realized that this constant cycle of buying outfits and trends never brings peace because every season there's something new to chase. And I did not want to chase anymore. So today I wear simple clothes, the same few items rotated again and again, not because I am cheap, but because my money now has a purpose, and purpose matters more than labels. And when I look in my closet, I see clarity instead of clutter. And that clarity reminds me every day that I do not need to impress anyone with the things I put on my body. The third thing I refuse to buy is a luxury vacation on credit, because for a long time, I watched people take trips they could not afford just to post pictures that made their lives appear more exciting than they actually felt. And the moment they returned home, the financial hangover would begin because the bills always show up long after the excitement fades. And I realized that a trip is not a real break if it puts me under pressure when I come back. So today I only travel when I can pay for everything in cash. And if I cannot afford it yet, then I wait and I plan and I save, because patience always feels better than debt. And I discovered that peace of mind is the real luxury, not the resort, not the flight, not the fancy restaurant, because those things lose their sparkle when you know you cannot truly afford them. And as someone who values simplicity and calm, I learned that I can enjoy life without buying expensive escapes, because sometimes the quiet moments close to home bring far more peace than any vacation ever could. The fourth thing I refuse to buy is a phone upgrade just because the phone company tells me it is time, because I used to fall for that trap every year, thinking that a new lens or a slightly brighter screen somehow improved my life, but all it really did was keep me locked into another payment plan. And I finally understood that as long as my phone lets me call someone, message someone, take a picture, and access the internet, then it has everything I actually need, and the rest is just noise disguised as progress. So now I keep my phone until it no longer works, and I do not allow companies to convince me that small features are worth large payments, because every upgrade I refuse makes me feel more in control, and that control is something I value deeply as a minimalist trying to build a life with fewer distractions and more intention. The fifth thing I refuse to buy is food delivery, and this one might surprise some people because it is easy and convenient and familiar, but it is also incredibly expensive, and I realized that I was paying extra money simply to avoid walking, driving, or cooking. And that habit eventually felt like the opposite of discipline. And as someone who wants to spend with purpose, I knew that I had to make a change. So now I cook at home or pick up my food myself. And in doing so, I save money, I stay active, and I avoid paying for the convenience of being lazy, because convenience is the enemy of financial freedom. And I refuse to let small habits drain my long term goals anymore. And I want to go even deeper with you, because the truth is that living this way did not happen overnight, and it required me to unlearn years of habits that I picked up without even realizing it. Habits that made spending feel normal and saving feel impossible. And I started noticing how often I bought things not because I needed them, but because I was bored or stressed or trying to keep up with the people around me. And when I finally slowed down and paid attention, I realized that every unnecessary purchase was really just a distraction from the life I actually wanted to build. And once that realization hit me, everything began to change. Slowly at first, then more dramatically, because the power of intentional living grows with every small choice you make. And I want to share that because I know someone watching this might feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of where to begin. When I started this buy nothing rebellion, I expected to save a little money, but I did not expect how much clarity it would bring into my life, because removing the noise made space for focus. And when I stopped chasing the latest trends, I started discovering what I truly valued. And I learned that simplicity is not just about owning fewer things, it is about creating room for peace. And when you create that room, your thoughts become clearer, your goals become sharper, and your confidence grows because you finally feel in control of your own life instead of letting marketing or social pressure control it for you. And there is something incredibly powerful about waking up and knowing that your money is working for you, instead of disappearing into things you barely remember buying. And there is something even more powerful about realizing that your worth has nothing to do with what you wear, what you drive, or what you post online. Because your real value shows up in your habits, your discipline, your decisions, and the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. And that mindset shift alone changed the way I approach almost everything. From the food I buy, to the tools I use, to the goals I chase. I also want to remind you that choosing a simpler path does not mean you will never enjoy nice things again, because minimalism is not about denying yourself. It is about choosing intentionally. And as a frugal man who wants long-term freedom, I learned that the things worth having are the things that bring real value, and real value never fades the way trends do. And when you finally start valuing peace, stability, and freedom, you stop craving the temporary thrill of buying things you do not need. So if you are considering joining this buy nothing rebellion, even in a small way, I encourage you to try it. Not because I want you to copy my life, but because I want you to experience the feeling of taking back control of your choices. And as you practice it, little by little, you will start noticing the same transformations I did. And you might be surprised by how much lighter, calmer, and more confident you feel just by deciding that you no longer need to buy your way into happiness or validation or comfort. This journey keeps teaching me that freedom grows each time we choose simplicity, and I hope you feel inspired to begin your own path. If this helped you, let me know with a like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only, and any results depends on your decision and actions.